Warning. This video was recorded before episode 8 was released, so some things may not make a bit of sense, okay? Enjoy. Well, here we are. The journey is over. Now I just have to talk about episode 8 and then the series as a whole. A curious fact is that this chapter was my favorite on an individual level, and for many, it is the best. Honestly, it is an excellent visual spectacle. So since this episode is the longest, we're not going to waste any time and I'm going to start right away. Share this if you like it so that more people know about the series and future projects from both Leon and Glitch Productions. We start the episode in a church. Yes, a freaking church! It turns out that the scientists are so scared that they decided to go and do experiments in a church. When men of science resort to the most basic faith because they don't understand something, you know we're screwed. We see a guy named Mitchell, but the guy put on the wrong uniform, so they confuse him with a certain Dr. Chamber who looks like he's important. We see it's his mom, who seems to be totally controlled by the absolute solver, so they ask Mitchell to bring Doll's mom, Yeba, to help them.
It's over. We are screwed.
Mitchell complies, but by the time he returns, Sin has already possessed Nori, so she kills everyone.
Thanks for the new host, intern. MacGuffin.
Throws a cross at Mitchell, and the flashback ends there. But it turns out that it wasn't a flashback. Yeah, I don't know, it seems like Liam has something against flashbacks as a plot device. But this is not a flashback, but a recording that was being watched by Nori, Uzi's mother, who lost her body, so she's in homunculus mood. But she's still alive. We see how Uzi, Tessa, and N arrive down there, and N tries to get Uzi to help him unblock the entrance to go for B. But let's say that Uzi for the first time uses common sense and says that maybe she shouldn't use the solver.
Watch it! I don't think I should.
Spoiler, she's going to keep using it.
You stupid!
Seeing that Uzi isn't very trustworthy, Tessa wants to get rid of her, and we see that N hesitates for a moment and implies that he's willing to save the universe over one little drone.
Uzi, there might be some stuff down here that you don't want to see.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone?
But proceeds to say that they won't hurt him in the most "we're going to kill you" way possible.
If you ever do that again, I'm gonna kill your parents, and I know where they live.
So, Uzi leaves him behind, injuring our already injured golden retriever. Oh, and casting a landslide that separates them. And it's trapped, so he must cut off his arm, but suddenly... I wonder who the person Sin is using to create the illusions might be. It's not like there's only one other person besides Uzi who was in there and on the same side as N. As I said, the comedy is still a 50-50, you either love him or hate him, there's no middle ground. Although it didn't ruin the moment for me, but I understand that many didn't like it. We briefly see Uzi taking a lantern before returning to N, who is going to receive his canonical moment. Sin tries to control N again, but since N's administrator is now Uzi and not Sin, she doesn't succeed, but he does manage to see his previous memories. And then Sin takes him away.
For clearing the way on this planet too. Let's eat.
Uzi enters a church where he finds the computer that Nori was using. Yep, Nori's a furry. There's no one normal in that family. Uzi sees the recordings on the computer and let's say she didn't like what she saw. Hey Anne, how are you doing? Fortunately, Nori appears to save him and reveals herself to be Uzi's mother. Meanwhile, on the surface, Thad and Lacey go to the place of the ship in which Anne, B and Jay arrive, to which Jay arrives and blows everything up, and we see that Khan recreated Uzi's railgun. When did you become brave? Meanwhile, Tessa is lurking around the place and proceeds to destroy the labs as she said. But then she encounters Doll, with whom she has a confrontation to get a patch. Apparently there's a cross-shaped thing that works to patch the Absolute Sober, which is what Doll will be looking for, so that it does not control her and destroy the planet. But apparently Tessa already knew this and basically tells Doll that everything she did was in vain since the Sober was not even interested in her, and proceeds to kill Doll. Yep, Tessa is in, and I have something to say about it later. We return to Nori and Anne, where they show us that Yeva managed to save Nori, and we see what caused the explosion that eliminated the humans.
What? In the silence.
Kinda half imploded anyway.
And because Nori screwed up so much, for now she does not want to reveal to Uzi that she's alive. During this conversation, Nori asks who the main host is, the one who just tried to eat them. So Anne realized that Tessa is the host. Yes, Anne already knew that Tessa was Sin before you know what. I don't say to screw people over, but I'm surprised by the absurd amount of people who didn't realize it. But let's see. And just use logic. Uzi and Doll were very far away from him. The only one who was by his side was Tessa. Doll and Uzi seem to still not lose control, so unless there's a third host, it's quite obvious who it is. Why do I explain it? Is it because I like to piss off the fandom that likes a certain ship? Well, also, but no. It's because I think it gives more emotional weight to that scene. Yes, I think she's not taking it very well. This scene could look a bit random, but when you analyze it though, and by analyze it I mean I stole it from EnderLeak's video, you really understand why she basically had a breakdown. We previously saw Uzi looking at her mother necklace, hesitant to go inside and see the truth since she knows what's in there is related to her mother. We can't joke about how she lacks maternal affection, but let's remember that Khan was a terrible father, and from what we saw in episode 2, she had a certain idolatry for her mother. So imagine what she might feel seeing her mother not only committing a massacre, but started everything we're currently seeing right now. Imagine the emotional impact it will have on Uzi. There she understood that she really didn't want to know more. Let's remember that she doesn't know that her mother was possessed. Basically, what she understood is that Sin was her mother. So when she takes off the necklace, it is not only because of what she saw, but because the image she had of her mother was totally destroyed. And now she's afraid because she sees in her mother the monster she's becoming. Hello though, how are you doing? It doesn't seem any better.
Yikes. Someone's been busy.
There were many of us and Grandma gave birth. Uzi is cornered by Sinessa. Sinessa? I like it. I'm going to keep calling her that. Look, after what I say, you may think that the following maybe didn't sound so interesting to me, but I promise you that this was my reaction at the moment.
You knew about the patch, yes or no? One chance.
Cute. You know why I keep you around here?
What? What the fuck? What? What? Don't tell me! Do not tell me that's true!
Once again, N shows that he has more brains than any protagonist. He does not let her enemy give a monologue and tells her one chance means one chance! The fact that N was a bit sus about Tessa does not take away from the weight of the moment. I mean, yes, everything points of Tessa being seen, but it was not confirmed. There could perfectly have been another host, or Dole or Uzi could have lost control. N has just risked possibly having decapitated her mother figure or slash older sister. That's why this scene, the one that comes after committing the murder, is so heavy, where we see N struggling, almost breaking down. Clearly seeing that Sin didn't react immediately, contrary to what he was expecting. The guy is terrified. Did I just kill the real Tessa? But like he said, baby steps. So he goes to help Uzi, who's surely happy to see his charming prince.
That's really sweet, big brother.
Oh, now who can defend me?
Nori.
Well, after that comes the best fucking fight of the series! I don't think that's how black holes work, but who cares? Well, it seems that Anne and Nori are going to lose, but...
Nori! I should mention Uzi and I!
What?
Uzi Dorman. Those things killed your
Falcon Punch!
Well, Nori's racist, and surely she's not approving the fact that his daughter is dating someone from another race. Also, she's resentful that she was almost killed, so she applies the Latin family treatment with Uzi.
Punch!
How is it that she has so much strength if she's just a homunculus? Well, after Uzi throws his mother to what seems to be a certain death, we have a very nice reconciliation, to be honest. But... okay, it's creepy, but why does the head keep rolling? It's kind of impossible. It's not a uniform circle. Well, suddenly Tessa's headless body takes her head. And look at it, because this scene is pretty good.
Oh yes. Get snack upon.
Wait, have I been simping a corpse all this time?
He is a corpse.
Yeah, but he's the sexiest corpse.
He is, in fact, the sexiest corpse I've ever seen.
All right. How long until a corpse stops rotting?
I love Sin's design here. Well, and when it seemed that nothing could get worse,
Starving.
well, suddenly Jay appears to try and get screen time, which is forbidden by Liam Baker, so... Well, Lizzie, Thad, and Khan arrive to the scene, and we return to the protagonists who, let's say, are not having a good time. But when seeing the keys fall, Uzi sacrifices herself to save Anne, being pulled into the interior of the planet, accepting her fate. However, she suddenly wakes up and finds herself in outer space, thus ending the episode. Now we go with everyone's favorite part, my opinion, baby. Everyone knows I'm going to talk about the animation. However, I'm not just saying it for the final fight, but for the whole episode. From Anne being dragged by a sin to the final battle. Everything looks amazing, fluid, detailed, and well polished. There are moments that could perfectly be a poster and scenes that look... I'll give you an example. Poor Anne, really. And the music, oh the music. As soon as the soundtrack of this episode comes out, I'm going to download it. AG Desperito has a great talent. Unfortunately, I haven't listened to all his works, but maybe I should. On the other hand, the pacing of the episode. I know I complain a lot about the accelerated pace of the series, but in this episode it seems to me that it works. Everything that the series has been building starts to explode here, and it's not just a big revelation, but things are revealed all the time. There isn't a single moment in which something isn't happening on screen. I stand by the fact that the fast pacing has been working against the series as a whole, but in this episode it works extremely well. Moving on to the characters, let's start with our little piece of heaven, Ed. Even though he hasn't had any development yet, except that now it seems that he likes Uzi, this is what I was referring to earlier about handling characters that are simply good people. Push them to the limits. People love seeing Steve Rogers stand strong despite adversity and having his goodness constantly tested. And my god, I want to give this guy a hug. Our golden retriever makes tough decisions all the time. First, he hinted that he was willing to cooperate with Sines's plan. Then he didn't have the time to deal with the guilt of scaring Uzi, and in the end he decided to risk that. If his theory was wrong, he would have killed Tessa, and we see that for a moment he breaks down at the possibility. Some people think that Anne from previous episodes wouldn't have done that, which I disagree completely with, because this is more in line with the little we've seen of Anne as a character, other than
Uzi! 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 Don't you dare!
And despite being a brat of God, Anne has shown that he's capable of making intelligent and difficult decisions, despite his feelings, and I love it. As I said before, the comedy in this series is 50-50. You either like it or you don't. There's no middle ground. But just like before, they don't interrupt tense moments with 2 exceptions, or feel like particularly bad with 1 exception. I've seen people mentioning Anne's moments when he sees B's image, which I understand why, but it will only be 1 moment. Lastly, Murder Drones has been classified as being just edgy and nothing more. Which, we're not going to lie, this series is edgy, which many don't like, and I'm sure many when comparing the series to Gravity Falls went. But this episode shows what I mean. This series can really be dark and scary at times. It really highlights the fact that this series is classified as a horror show, and I think this episode is the one that best exemplifies it. Well, this will be all. At least all I have to say about the good. Look, I never wanted to throw up hate or anything, but here's something that I think is a very bad decision, either from Leon or Bleach. Remember all the talk I said about Tessa basically being the hero of her own story? How it added a whole moral debate? How no one wants to hurt each other, but not everyone can have their happy ending, which adds greater complexity to the conflict with Tessa wanting to save humanity, clashing with the protagonist wanting to save themselves. Well, Tessa is dead, it's over, she died at the gala, humanity is cancelled. All that potential that I used to defend murderers against the world was replaced with the plot twist Disney style blood. And in the end they tell you, oh, the blood is gone. Well, yes, you did learn from Big Mike.
Necesito beber. Nada de esto fue un error. Oh, nada fue un error.
Alright, there are 2 explanations for this. The first is that Leah Vickers has a taste for plot villains, which is not a bad thing. They're having great villains. I know we make fun of Disney for exploiting that resource, but Turbo from Wreck-It Ralph is an example of this done well, and I have no doubt that Lehman has the writing talent to do it, and from what I know, he already did it well. Maybe he planned this from the beginning and thought it would turn out well, especially with the build-up and affection we had with the character of Tessa. But the problem is something I will talk about more in detail when I talk about the entire series as a whole, and it is that, as has happened before, Murder Drones, by wanting to subvert expectations and break stereotypes, ends up wasting potential or getting into a bigger hole. Or the second option, this wasn't the original plan, which goes along with the theory that the series was created with multiple seasons in mind, but either because the series wasn't having that much success. I mean, Murder Drones has trouble getting over the 20 million views, and please don't throw hate to the Amazing Digital Circus. I'm sick of the fandom having a toxic attitude because they think that the Amazing Digital Circus took Murder Drones away from us. Nah, animation is expensive, and I know this sounds bad, especially because Bleach is known for having a good attitude towards creators. Gooseworks itself said it, but animation is expensive, and I understand that Bleach can't keep producing something that isn't profitable, so they had to cancel the 2nd season and Leon had to close the plot somehow. And this seems like the best way, however, I'm leaning towards the first option, since it seems like all this was planned, but even then, it doesn't work. We did see Tessa before, but we didn't know who that figure was in episode 4, and even though in episode 6 you feel like they're screaming at you that something is wrong with Tessa, I didn't think it would be like this, because the course of the series had so much potential. The fact that it was planned and you left crumbs along the way doesn't make it good. Now everything is just good versus evil. That's why I made that ironic comment in the previous video, because when you know this, you can enjoy the previous scenes like before. I don't think it ruins Tessa's character, but it's not the same to watch the series again knowing this. Then you have the other problem. Doll, her arc and her death. Although it helps to generate the idea that nobody is safe, her death feels rushed. The moment is shocking, but when you take away the shock of seeing her with her insides out, what are you left with? You feel like the script literally told her, your journey was in vain, you killed people for nothing, now die. It doesn't feel like an ending. Look, there are series like Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen in which they're not afraid to kill characters cruelly and quickly. It does not matter that they have a lot of potential, but even then their deaths have a reason, and it is to show you how cruel this war is, that nobody's safe. They serve to set the precedence that everyone can die. The problem? Well, in this series called Murder Drones, we have seen a lot of drones and little murder. That is, while the previous cases they serve to build that nobody's safe, here there is no previous construction since this series seems desperate in speedrunning its plot. Her death does not feel satisfactory, nor does it feel like a reminder of how crude the world is, because there was no build up before that, nor does it work as a satisfactory ending for the character. Rather, it feels like Liam did not know what to do with her, so... Once again, I think they're going for the nobody safe route, but because we only have 7 episodes, we haven't had time to build up that and make it clear. Also, Jay coming back already took away a lot of the real weight that Dad's had in this series. So that you try to sell me that now, when there's only 2 episodes left, well, what do you want me to say? Anything to say? Anything else? Uh-huh. Lastly, Nari. As a character, I like it. She feels like a more mature version of Uzi, even when she tells Anne not to tell Uzi that she's alive, which I do see an older version of Uzi doing if she was in the same situation. I like her personality, but throughout the series, Nori was treated more like a mystery than a character, and there it feels like she only served as a plot device, and when the series didn't need her anymore, it got rid of her. You know, it reminds me of Sam Feng in Pirates of the Caribbean. The writers just shoot him out when they didn't need it anymore. I honestly hope that they have something for her in the next episode. If not, well, what a waste. And well, with this I conclude with all the chapters. I hope at least I have entertained you with my badly, and wish you a good day. Bye bye!
What do you think about the ending, Toxic? What do you think about the ending, Toxic? What do you think? What do you think?